Hello friends, this is Raman Gill with your weekly Forex analysis for the week of March the 28th. Before we get started, just a quick disclaimer. This is for educational purposes only. I'm not an investment advisor. If you have questions regarding your individual investment needs, I suggest you talk to an investment advisor. To start things off, we'll take a look at the economic calendar, see what kind of news is coming out this week. Then we'll get into the commitment of traders data and understand how the big players are positioned. And then we will get into the charts and look at some of the technical levels that we can trade from. Let's take a look at some of the broad fundamental themes that we see for this week. For the US dollar, we have seen bullish comments by some of the Fed officials. Even though FOMC was really dovish, we have seen Fed officials come out and have hinted at an interest rate hike as early as April. The rate hike back on the table for April, that has pushed the US dollar up. This week we have Yellen speaking on Tuesday, and then we also have non-farm payroll. Both of these events should create volatility for the US dollars. We'll watch out for that. For British pound, there has been a lot of talk about Brexit, and because of that, there has been a lot of downward pressure on the British pound. This week we have Bank of England Governor Carney speaking, and anytime there is such a speech, it creates volatility in the market, so we'll expect that. So let's take a look at the economic calendar now and see what events we have on the tap for this week. The week starts off with holiday in the Eurozone and also in Asia. On Monday, we have some Tier 2 data coming out for US dollar. We have pending home sales, household spending, personal spending. And then getting into Tuesday, we have consumer confidence number for the US, and also we have Fed Chair Yellen speaking. Again, we can expect volatility when Yellen speaks, so that's something to keep in mind. Going into Wednesday, we have ADP non-farm employment change and then crude oil inventories for the US dollar, and earlier in the European session, we have German preliminary CPI inflation data and then economic barometer for Swiss franc. Going into Thursday, we see German retail sales and then Spanish flash CPI. And really important here is the Bank of England Governor Carney speaking. Later on, we see current account for British pound. Again, this will be important for the pound. We have final GDP numbers for that and also net lending to individuals. We have CPI flash estimate for the euro and core CPI flash estimate. This is the inflation data that will be important for the Eurozone. We have GDP numbers for Canadian dollar and then unemployment claims for US. And then going into later into the Asian session, we have FOMC member Dudley speaking, and also for China, we have manufacturing PMI numbers and gigs in manufacturing PMI numbers as well. If these numbers are negative, that should have a negative impact on Australian dollar as well, so keep that in mind. Going into Friday, we have manufacturing PMI numbers for the British pound, and then we get into the US session, and that's where we'll have the average hourly earnings and most importantly the non-farm employment change number and unemployment rate. At 10 a.m. Eastern, we'll have ISM manufacturing PMI numbers. Let's take a look at the commitment of traders data now. Starting off with the euro here, euro has been more bullish than any other pair against the US dollar. And as we see from COT data this week, we actually see a decrease in the short positions for the leveraged money, the green line that we are looking at here. The short positions have gone down from 74,000 to 68,000. So that's a decrease in the net short positions. So this is bullish for the euro dollar. For the British pound here, we had seen a buildup in the long positions. However, this week we actually see an increase in the short positions. So as you can see here, this green line that we are looking at, the net short positions have increased from negative 26,000 to 47,000. So these have almost doubled. So this points to short British pound. For the Canadian dollar here, we see a decrease in the short positions. As we can see over the last few weeks, the short positions have been going down. So this week we went from 24,000 to 15,000. So that's a decrease in short positions, which would be bullish for the Canadian dollar. So dollar CAD would be bearish. For Australian dollar here, we have seen an increase in the long positions. This green line has crossed over the zero, which means the big funds have actually gone long in their Australian dollar positions. And this week we have seen an increase from 15,000 to 19,000 net long positions. So this suggests bullish Australian dollar. For the New Zealand dollar, we had seen a crossover above the zero level. So they had gone net longs. However, this week we see a slight decrease in these long positions. So we have seen the long positions go from 5,500 to 4,200. This suggests a short New Zealand dollar. Now let's move on to the charts. We'll start things off by taking a look at the Euro US dollar here. Last week we saw downward pressure on the euro. However, euro held its own compared to US dollar in spite of the other currencies falling. So we saw this pull down. For this week, we haven't seen price actually really break down below the 1150 number. So 1150 has held its own. This week we can expect a push back up into this 1220 or even 1240 level. And if this level holds, the 1230 level here, the price does not hold above this level, we may see price come down again into this 1080 level potentially. However, if the price manages to hold above the 1220 level or 1230 area, we are looking for a potential move higher. So this 1230-ish area is very important level. We'll really have to see how price reacts around this. If it holds below, we're looking at a move to the downside. However, if the price starts holding above the 1220 level, then we are looking for a move potentially into this 1350 area. For the British pound here, we have a very strong bearish weekly candle. So this is very bearish for the British pound. Now, looking at the daily chart here, we should see some pullback, and potential levels for pullback would be this 4,300 level. So once the price goes up to test 4,300, if it holds below 4,300, we are then back looking into a move down again to 4060 level here. And if the price holds below the 4060 level, we are looking for a move back into the lows here, potentially at 3830 or even 3850 level. Level here, 4050 is very important. If the price starts holding below this, we'll be looking for a potential move to the downside. However, I do think we'll see a push back up, potentially into this 4,300 level. And again, if the price holds below 4,300, we'll be looking for another leg to the downside. However, if it starts holding above the 4,300, we could see the price go up and test this 4,400 or even potentially 4,500 level. So 4,300 level will be the key level here for British pound. Looking at Australian dollar here, we saw nice rejection of the highs. We saw a bearish weekly candle. And as far as the daily is concerned, we also see downward pressure here. So for Australian dollar, we are looking at this 75.80 level or 7600 level as an important level. We could expect a pullback into the 7600 level. And if the price holds below, we're looking for a potential move down to 7380 level or at least 7400 level. However, if the price holds above the 7600, then we are looking for a move back into 7680. So 7600 level would be key for Australian dollar. New Zealand dollar has been weak. We have seen strong weekly bearish candle here. Price hasn't really been able to hold above the 6800 level. And this week I'm looking for more downside in New Zealand dollar. However, we will look for a pushback up first to begin with, and then a further move to the downside. So the level to watch out for in terms of resistance would be 6,800 or 6,820 level. If the price holds below this level, we're looking for a move back, potentially back into the 6,670 level. And if this level breaks, the price tried breaking this level 3 times and it has failed. Once the price breaks through the 6670 level, then we are looking at back into 6550 level here and 6580 level. So this 6670 level will be key here. As the price holds above that, we may see a test higher and then a move back into this level. So 166.70 number fails, we are looking for 65.70 level. For the dollar CAD I think is stronger than the other commodity currencies. Here we have seen last week we did see a push up for dollar CAD as well. The weekly candle closed very bullish. And this week we are looking at 3,400 as the level to the upside. Price has tried to go through this level several times. However, it has failed. This week, if the price comes and tests the 3,400 level, we will look for this level to pose resistance here. If this level breaks and the price goes up through this level, next level we are watching is 3650 level. However, if the 3400 level holds as the resistance, we're looking for a potential move down back into this 3170 level and then potentially back into the lows here of 2900. So again, this 3170 level would be key as support, and then 3400 level would be key resistance level. So that's all for this week. Have a great trading week. I will see you next week.